Hey folks, Deano here again, and yep, I've got another one of these Dragon Ball Evolve figures from Bandai. Yep, another trip to Tesco, and I left with another two of them, because not only did they have Goku and, spoilers for the next review, Vegeta, but they also had them reduced. In Tesco you have like a rewards card called a club card for those of you who are outside the UK or don't have a Tesco. So yeah, they actually had these down to £8.50 each. So yeah, 17 quid for two figures is a pretty decent deal, in my opinion. So yeah, let's take a quick look at Goku's packaging first of all. Learned from the last time, I opened it from the bottom so you can actually see the top. A nice picture of Goku there, the Dragon Ball Evolve logo there, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. I don't know why companies and even like the Dragon Ball themselves are still using that term. Just call it Super Saiyan Blue, guys. Like a Bandai logo up the top, and a picture of the three figures on the back. They did have Broly as well, or Broly, whichever way you want to say it, but he is unfortunately massively out of scale with even the rest of the Evolve figures, let alone figure arts. He was literally the exact same size as Goku, just bulkier. So yeah, that wasn't happening. And some stuff on the back, and not three sad onions. Nice to see that's still about. So yeah, let's bring Goku in himself. So in terms of details, he's not bad. Unfortunately, because Goku's gi is orange, and these Evolve figures don't ever tend to have shading or anything, it's just the bare plastic, which means, yeah, it's very, very plasticky looking. Oranges, yellows, reds, that sort of spectrum of colour has a really hard time looking good if it's not been painted. So yeah, unfortunate. What's not unfortunate though is the hair. The hair on Goku and Vegeta is a really nice blue. It's coming up quite a dark blue on the camera, but it's really not. It's a nice turquoisey colour, which it should be. Although it is darker than the figure arts one. When we compare in a second, you'll see just how similar they actually are. But yeah, apart from that, not much paint to speak of. There's a bit on the blue of his gi and came out of his shirt. One thing I did notice though is that for some reason they didn't paint the red on his boots, but somehow had enough money in the budget to paint the soles of his feet. Which, yeah, that's a massive waste of budget, guys. I'm not going to lie. I don't know where your priorities are, Bandai, but that's not it. You're telling me you could put paint on the soles of his foot, which isn't even the same colour as anything else on the figure. But you couldn't put a little bit of red even on the front of his boots. Like, come on. But yeah, in terms of articulation, it's pretty decent for the scale, as all of the Evolve figures are. You can look up that much. You can't really look down. You can only really look forward. The shoulders have a ball peg going into it with the sort of plastic piece hiding it, but it can swivel all the way around. It can go all the way up. So yeah, decent enough. It kind of works like a butterfly, but you do have to really work that cover out of the way, and then if you work it too much, yeah. Shoulder completely comes out of the socket, which is surprisingly difficult to put back on, judging by how easy it comes off. There you go. You got a bicep swivel, single joint at the elbow, which gets about 90, hinge and swivel at the wrist, can be popped off like all the other figures. The waist and abs work really well in this figure. You can go back that far, forward that far, swivel at both because they're just ball pegs. I've already popped it off. Legs, you can do an even better splits than figure arts. It's that same sort of weird in-between design from figure arts. In between. That leg is a bit problematic for me. Yeah, you've got a thigh swivel, single joint at the knee, which still gets really good range and doesn't look that bad. No boot swivel, but does have ankle pivot. And you can go down a bit, but all you're really doing is popping the boot out of its socket. I realised that you can actually do that on all the figures. So yeah, decent little figure. Just a shame it doesn't have any sort of wash on the gi. Let's have a comparison to figure arts to get a sense of scale. And as you can see, he's a little bit underscaled. You could probably get away with it if you like extended the legs and had him in some sort of fighting pose or Kamehameha pose. But yeah, as you can see, metallic hair. The Dragon Ball Evolve figures actually take the win for there. It's actually really good. One other thing, like before I put this figure arts Goku away, I've already tried it with the Vegeta. The Vegeta, his head is just a mess. We'll come back to that in his own review. But with the Goku, that head, although it doesn't fit on the peg properly, you can futz it to actually look pretty decent on the figure arts body. It's for some reason overscaled compared to the others. But yeah, the sculpt of the hair on the Evolve figure is good. It's just a shame it doesn't really have much detail. Like, I can see why the Evolve line would want to go down the, oh, it's a really cheap figure that you can buy your kids. But I'm pretty sure if you bumped it up to like 15 quid, added some accessories, like this Goku, for example, only comes with Kamehameha hands, so he's going to look awkward unless you put him in a Kamehameha pose. Like, that's just how it goes with this guy. But yeah, add an extra $5 on the cost of these figures, put in a couple of extra hands and add some details to the figures. They could actually be really, really good. Like the Trunks figure, I've got that in my figure arts display. I managed to fudge that in. So they've proved that if they put the effort in, they can do it. So yeah, one last thing before I go. If you don't like the Tide look, because this is based on the Broly movie, even though they haven't put the Sun Family logo on it, you can just flip it backwards, sort of hide the tie on the back, and it still looks fine. So yeah, all in all, I kind of do recommend this figure. Just before I go, let's show the hands swapping, shall we? Sorry, completely forgot to do that earlier. If we take trunks, pop those off. They do in fact slot in. So yeah, even though like they aren't closed fists, it still gets the job done if you want them just standing there. So yeah, all in all, I would recommend the figure. I just wish Bandai would put a bit more effort into some of them. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for this review. Let me know what you think of it in the comments, and I'll see y'all later.